The Little Prince was written by Antoine de Saint-Exupery. He was a French writer and pilot who lived from 1900 to 1944. Saint-Exupery wrote this famous book in 1943 during World War II while he was living in the United States. He had already worked as a pilot for many years, flying planes across countries and even delivering mail. Sadly, he disappeared in 1944 when his plane went missing during a mission. The Little Prince is his most well-known work, loved by people all over the world. It's a short story that feels like a fairy tale, but it also has a lot of meaning behind it. The book mixes simple storytelling with beautiful drawings that Saint-Exupery made himself. The story starts with a pilot who crashes his plane in the Sahara Desert. He's all alone, trying to fix his plane when something strange happens. A little boy with golden hair appears out of nowhere. This boy is the Little Prince, and he's not from Earth. The pilot is surprised but curious about this mysterious visitor. The Little Prince asks the pilot to draw him a sheep, which starts a conversation between them. As they talk, the pilot learns more about where the Little Prince comes from and why he's here. The Little Prince tells the pilot that he lives on a tiny planet called asteroid B612. It's so small that it only has one rose, a few tiny volcanoes, and some baobab trees that he has to pull out so they don't take over. He explains that he left his planet because of his rose. He loved the rose very much, but he didn't understand her at first. She was beautiful, but also proud and a bit difficult. The Little Prince took care of her every day, watering her and protecting her with a glass cover. But one day he felt confused by her words and decided to leave his planet to explore the universe. So, the Little Prince begins his journey, traveling from one tiny planet to another. Each place he visits is home to a different grown-up, and they're all a bit strange. First, he meets a king who lives alone on his planet. The king loves giving orders, but there's no one around to follow them except the Little Prince. The king says he rules over everything, even the stars, but the Little Prince finds this silly and moves on. Next, he visits a man who loves being admired. This man thinks he's the most handsome and smartest person anywhere, even though he's the only one on his planet. The Little Prince doesn't understand why this matters and leaves again. After that, he lands on a planet with a drunk man. The man drinks to forget that he's ashamed of drinking. The Little Prince feels sorry for him, but doesn't stay long. Then he meets a businessman who's very busy counting stars. The businessman says he owns all the stars and keeps track of them to feel rich. The Little Prince thinks this is pointless because no one can really own the stars. On the next planet, he finds a lamplighter who turns a lamp on and off every minute because his planet spins so fast. The Little Prince likes the lamplighter because he works hard, but he still doesn't see much sense in it. Finally, he visits a geographer who makes maps but never leaves his desk to explore. The geographer tells the Little Prince to visit Earth, and that's how he ends up in the desert. When the Little Prince arrives on Earth, he's amazed by how big it is compared to his tiny planet. He lands in the desert first and meets a snake. The snake is mysterious and says it can send the Little Prince back to where he came from with a single bite. The Little Prince isn't ready for that yet, so he keeps exploring. Soon, he finds a garden full of roses. This surprises him because he thought his rose was the only one in the universe. Seeing so many roses makes him feel sad and confused. He starts to think his rose isn't special after all. While he's feeling down, a fox comes along. The Little Prince and the fox become friends, and the fox teaches him something important. The fox says that what makes something special is the time and love you give to it. He explains that if the Little Prince tames him, they'll need each other and become unique to one another. The Little Prince starts to understand his rose better now. He realizes that his rose is special because he cared for her and spent time with her. The fox asks to be tamed, and they grow close. But when it's time to say goodbye, the fox tells the Little Prince that his rose is what really matters. This helps the Little Prince see that he needs to go back to her someday. Meanwhile, back in the desert, the pilot is still working on his plane. He and the Little Prince have been talking for days, and the pilot has grown to love the little boy's strange stories and kind heart. They look for water together because they're both thirsty. After a long walk, they find a well, and it feels like a miracle. They drink the water and feel happy to be together. The pilot starts to see the world differently because of the little prince. He learns to look at things with his heart, not just his eyes. But then, the little prince says he has to leave. He's been on Earth for a year, and he misses his rose too much. He wants to go back to his planet. The pilot is sad because he doesn't want his friend to go. The little prince explains that the snake he met earlier can help him. The snake's bite will send his body back to his planet, like a shortcut through the stars. The pilot tries to stop him, but the little prince is sure this is what he needs to do. He tells the pilot not to worry. He'll look like he's gone, but he'll really be back home with his rose. One night, the little prince walks into the desert alone. The pilot follows him and sees the snake bite him. The little prince falls down quietly, and the pilot is heartbroken. He sits with the little prince's body, hoping he's wrong about what happened. The next morning, though, the body is gone. The pilot believes the little prince really did return to his planet. He fixes his plane and flies away, but he never forgets his friend. He keeps looking at the stars, wondering if the little prince is up there with his rose. As the story ends, the pilot talks to us, the readers. He says that if we ever meet a little boy with golden hair who laughs and doesn't answer questions, we should let him know. He misses the little prince and hopes he's happy on his tiny planet. The story leaves us with a feeling of wonder about the little prince and his journey. So that's the story of The Little Prince. It's about a boy who travels through space, meets all kinds of people, and learns what really matters in life. He starts off confused about his rose, but by the end, he knows that love and care make things special. The pilot, who tells the story, changes too. He learns to see the world in a new way because of the little prince. It's a simple tale, but it sticks with you, like a friend you don't forget.